let's just look at dancers, for instance. So dancers are innately performers, right? So if you find a couple of dancers that are interested in collabing with you, I would highly recommend it simply because they are performers and they are going to deliver what you want. And even having the opportunity to utilize some of the dancing poses make for some very, very cool creatives. Let's look at cosplay. Look at these, like amazing. They are into all the creative stuff, hands down. Find yourself a gorgeous cosplayer or two, and you're going to find the most perfect person to do collabs with. Why? Because this is exactly what they're into. They're into the creative stuff. They don't want to be this. They don't want this. They don't want to do this. But if you look at this, this is the type of thing right here, right here, right here, like this right here, guys. This is exactly what everybody wants. All these young girls that just want content for their social media and they want you to do it for free. They would prefer not to do anything artistic. This is what they want. So you're going to see these type always shot by dudes. And you're going to see the ones that empower and make women look really powerful. Those are the ones that are typically going to be shot by women. You know, like this is probably shot by a woman. This is probably shot by a woman. This is probably shot by a man. And why do I say that? Because look at the crotch area. A woman would have made sure that they dodged and burned out the camel toe, but a man won't. And I'm not saying all men are like that. I'm just saying most of the time, that's what we see. Okay, so we don't want this. This is not the look we're going for. I mean, we'll go for something like this. That's amazing. But all this other stuff is just stuff. You're going to get a bunch of horny guys going, oh my God, and maybe a whole bunch of likes. Why? Because these women are being kind of sexualized. So I'm just quickly going to walk you through how you can embellish a regular photograph that perhaps, you think it's okay, but it's missing something. If you shoot wide open, like f1.2 or 1.4, 1.8, something like that, you can really use these to embellish in a more artistic way. And I'm just going to quickly walk you through what is possible with these brushes. This is just one of my smoke or fog brushes. And then I'm just adding some foliage to this so that it actually looks a little bit more interesting. And this is using all of the new brushes I have in this set. And what I do want to explain to people, because I don't think a lot of people realize, and it's perfectly normal if you don't have an art background, is when you are trying to create this kind of foliage and you are looking to create that natural looking depth, then what I suggest that you do is always do it in layers and start with a darker layer. So for instance, if I just grab this art foliage brush here and I come in, you can change your flow to whatever you want. I usually start with about a 50, and I'm going to do this on a black background so that you can see it easier. So if you start with a darker color and you just come in and kind of create your base darker layer, it's always going to be so much more realistic. So let's say that you're creating a bush and this is your base layer. You're going to do another layer. This time you're going to go less saturated. So just remember, more saturated in the darks, less saturated in the lighter tones. So now we're going to come over here and I'm going to reduce my flow down again. And now when we come over top, it's going to look a little bit more realistic. Okay, so something like that. We're going to do another layer. And this time we're going to bump our flow all the way down to like 10. And we're going to come even lighter and less saturated. And then when you come in and you add these even brighter highlights, you're going to get a much more realistic looking result. And I always like to just play with my opacities, and especially this one here because it's definitely too dark. So I shot this in my living room with an Octa, and what I've done is I've added the following. So I've added just my base layer and some cloud smoke brush action here. But I also am looking to add these wings and I want to use my new smudge brushes and mixer brushes. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to really quickly demonstrate how I use all of these together. Now, here is a key. So these are wings. I do have a bunch of angel wings in my store if you're interested, but these ones are basically clipped in a multiply blend mode. Chose my color. I wanted them to kind of match her hair. So what you have to do if you want to make them look a little bit more realistic and you want to paint them, just make sure that your background is in place. So this is the background that I've settled on, and now I can paint them. If you paint them before you insert your background, it's not going to work. So we're going to go over here to the new set, and I'm going to come down to my mixer brushes, which are right here, and I'm going to go to my oil wiry mixer fur or hair brush, and these are feathers. So what I typically do is I leave all of my settings as they are. Just make sure that you're on a transparent layer, which means this one has to be selected. If you're working on a transparent layer like this, make sure sample all layers is selected. And all you're going to do is you're going to come in and you're going to use this to paint over the feathers so that it doesn't look so sharp and photographic. I want these to be more dreamy and painterly like, and this is a great brush for this. I mimicked this after the traditional fan brush if you're a traditional painter, so that it would have kind of that fan effect, which I think works really well for this type of a technique. Now you can use this on animal fur, you can use this on hair, you can use this on feathers, obviously. And yeah, you can use this on any type of subject that would perhaps need that more of a straight, strokey looking feel to it. And then all you do is turn your subject back on, and voila, you have beautiful painted wings. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to demonstrate our little smudge brush. So because I want to smudge all of this, it's just tulle, but I want it to be a little bit more dreamy. I'm going to put a layer above, and I'm going to go over here to my smudge brush. So we have classic and we have a floral. So let's just use our floral. Now it's going to automatically grab the smudge tool because it was created using this tool. And so it's not a no tool brush. This is specifically for smudging. It really isn't any good for anything else. I'm going to make sure my finger painting and sample all layers is on. Right now my strength is defaulted to 22. And so what I like to do, because it is a fairly robust, strong brush, you might want to zoom in a little bit and make your brush really little, but this is fantastic for really creating more of a dreamy feel, and it's going to sample all the layers. So it's going to grab the colors from the background, and it's going to just soften all of these little wrinkles and folds in our tool. Now, I don't really want terribly to like affect her legs or anything, so I'm just keeping my brush pretty small. And any overspray like that, you can choose to keep it or you can just mask it off after. And yeah, so that's all you do is you do little tiny kind of like lines, just tiny little lines. And I'm just coming over top of this oh so gently because I don't really want all of this texture to be gone. Not all of it, some of it. So I go over it knowing that I'll likely mask some of this effect off just because I do want the majority of this effect to actually be just on the lower part of the tool here. And I'm just softening all of this here. And you can see I'm just doing tiny little movements. I'm not doing a lot. The smaller you keep your brush, the less likely you're going to get those little flowery things because I did use a flower brush to create this one. Okay, so once you have that done, just add your mask. And I'm just going to go back to a regular soft brush here. And I'm just going to oh so gently mask this off of the areas that I don't really want it to be. So mostly it's the stuff on or around her legs and her feet. Just a little bit here, just so that we still have that texture and get the gist of, the fact that it was fabric or, something that she was standing on as opposed to a whole bunch of, just blurry stuff. And then I'm just going to take that spray off the side here. Okay, so that already looks a little bit more dreamy. I'm going to do another layer over top, and I am going to grab my cloud brush. So there's 3 of them here. There's 3 different ones, but I love these for, honestly, if you use them in the sky using the same premise where you start with grays. I'll just show you really, really quickly so that you know what I'm talking about. So if you start this one with a darker gray, let's say, and you just come across and you just want to maybe create some clouds in the sky, right? You can even go a little darker in here. You can even go darker under here. If you do that and then you come up, reduce your flow a little bit, and then just add some light. These are fantastic for actually creating believable clouds in your sky, even if they're photographic. Okay, so what we're going to do though is we're going to choose like an orange-ish complementary color for here, and I'm just going to come over top and just add in a little bit of this for kind of more effect of almost like a cloud feeling. And it just kind of adds a little bit of more magic to the feel of the portrait. You can kind of come over top of this. And because this is a complementary color, we're going to come in and use a little bit more of this one just over top. So even though you can use these brushes for, you know, your sky or whatever, it's still really fun to use them in this way too. And if you wanted to, you could even grab your pattern stamp tool and come into, let's say you're going to do your flower brush, this one here. And let's say we're choosing this guy, we're going to put our flow up. Make your brush smaller, and then you're just going to maybe add a little bit of interest as far as this is concerned. You can change it to multiply, right? So you always want to start with a darker base, even when you're using the pattern stamp tool, because the darker base is going to enable you to have way more realistic results. So if we wanted that to come down there, even if we wanted to maybe add a little up here, let's say, and then you're going to add another layer, and this time it's a normal layer, and you're going to reduce a little bit, and now you're going to come in and just go over top of that darker layer. And this is just going to help it look way more realistic. Do you see that? Now your foliage actually looks way more realistic than it did all by itself if you would have just done that without your darker layer, right? And then you can come in and change your pattern. This is just one of my pattern sets. Let's say we are looking for complementary colors. We're probably going to choose this one because it has a little bit of orange in it. And then if we come in, we can just add a little bit more of that really pretty orange. But it also grabs all the other colors, which would be, you know, more of a sage and a little bit of grays and stuff. And so that really will help with making it more realistic, but also more interesting and more artistic. Okay, so that's how you can just add a little bit of really cool painting-like elements as well.